Okay. So yeah, let me share the screen.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So till where we saw on the other day is that we saw creation of payroll and we saw creation of consolidation
Mm.
and we saw how to create the payment method at high level. So till this point, any doubt?
Sir, we just got an overview. Today we have to go with an example. You said on that day.
That's what I'm asking. Do you have any
No doubt,
queries
sir. We
or
can go with the
anything?
example.
No, example in the sense, like how are you expecting?
Example in the sense, let's create a new payroll. That's
Okay. So, what we are trying to do here is that basically we are creating a payroll. So, yeah,
sir. How we give number of years as 5?
it's whatever the year you want to give, you can give it. How in the sense?
Uh, is this is it fixed or we have to
No, it's
make it?
not fixed. No, no, it's not fixed. So, how many ever years you want to give, you can
Mm.
give there. You don't have any restrictions there.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
So basically, we have created an payroll with the name of HW payroll, and
Mm.
we said that the payroll period type would be calendar month, which means
Mm.
this is month-on-month payroll run. Okay. So there will be few cases wherein we will run weekly for the contract employees or the wages or the other parts. But for the regular employees, it is mostly the calendar month. Month on month, we will make the payment. So this becomes our standard practice to attach the calendar month. Okay. And then we are starting the first period. So first period for me is 1st of January 2021. And years I'm selecting this for 5 years. So this we are just running this for our understanding. So I'm not extending this to 20 years or 30 years or something like that. So instead, what I'm trying to do is that I'm just giving it for 5 years. Okay. And then offset date. So cutoff date when I want to have this. So for check and the schedules. So the difference between check and schedule and cutoff is that when I want to run the payroll process exactly, or when I want to schedule this, when I want to make the payment. So that is the understanding. So I will say first. So which means I'll say one and I'll just enter the details. And here, if I come down, I have few default information that I will have to give here. Okay. So we have not created the payment method. So I'm not giving this payment method at this point. So I will give the consolidation set which we created earlier. So I'm just attaching it. Okay. And then costing information. So costing information, I'm just giving so we did not create a separate costing. So we created a flex field with job flex field. So others are like standard one. Okay. So I'm just attaching the values from there. So here, if you see, the values are like product and the labor charges. So these things. So I don't have any product specific charges or the costing at this point. So I'm just giving zero. But my company would be operations. That is zero one. Okay. Yeah, and effective date basically system will pick based on the date that we are giving it here. So one of my class, I said that we have this date tracker, so we can make use of it to change it from 1st of June or in 1st of January. So any date you can give it here. Okay. And then we have a few controls here. So if I want to give adjustments, that is, if I want to give the payments in negative, so whether I should allow system to calculate or allow negative, so I can enable this option. Okay. And then whether I want to allow multiple assignments. So that also I can enable it here if at all I need this thing. Okay. And then I have a few additional information that I can capture as a part of payroll processing. Okay. So we did not set up any additional information. So these are like standard one that is being created by the other users. So if you want to capture the information, we can capture from here basically. Okay. And then if we click let me save this. I think it is not allowing to predate it. Okay, so I have changed it to the post-dated payment. So instead of giving on 1st of January, so I have changed it to 31st of July. Okay, and since this is practice instance, so someone has enabled this additional information as mandatory. So here I have just given two things. So one is that pre-notification allowed. So this I'm saying I don't want to use this additional information. So I'm just saying no here, and I'll just say after term days. Okay. Okay. So based on the dates that we have given, so I mean system will basically calculate the periods and it will give us the details. So this is auto generated basically. And we can see when this check and the schedule run will process. Okay. So we gave this as in first of this thing. So because if you see here, so what we have given is that check date is one, which means first of month. So that is for this period. So 31st, I mean first of July to 31st of July. So the payment or I mean, the check will be released on 1st of January as per our configuration. And schedule run also we scheduled, I mean, we set up as one. So that is the reason we are saying 1st of August. Okay, and the period status will be always open. So we don't have the concept of closure and the other things. Okay. Any doubt or we'll move on?
Uh, sir, what is a negative payment?
Negative payment is that if I want to adjust the payment which I have made. So let's say for this employee this month I wanted to give only 10,000. So by mistake I have entered this as 12,000. So now
Okay.
if I want to deduct it or if I want to adjust this particular 2000, so I can enable this negative. But this is not an suggestible approach because this becomes an adjustment entry every time or every month. So that is the reason we will avoid this. But still we have this feature in the system.
Hmm. Okay, sir.
Okay.
Sir, another
So
doubt.
yeah, yes,
On the
yes,
day we created consolidation, no.
yeah.
Can you show me how we will create?
Consolidation is nothing. We will just enter a name here and we will
Hmm.
just save and we will
Hmm.
attach this to the payroll. That's it. We don't
Okay.
have a special setup for consolidation.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll just create a check payment. Okay, so these are the information basically I'll give to make the payment. So the reason why I'm selecting first two as a mandatory thing is that let's say I run this payroll run now. So this will be in cost clearing account till the payment is sent out to the particular employee. Okay. So this is kind of an account wherein it will track whether this amount that we transferred has been received by employee or not. Okay. So once this is reflected in the employee's account, so we will see the cost account that has been updated. So that's the reason I'm selecting cost payment and cost cleared payment. So that is the idea behind this. Okay. And now if I want to give the cost cleared voided payment also, this is this option if I want to use it. So which means, so this cost cleared will be used only for the payments, I mean voided payments. So wired payment is nothing but the payments that are cancelled. So let's say I ran payroll for this particular employee, but I should have calculated this loan and the other things, and I should have deducted it. But I did not deduct, but I just ran. So now what I will do is that I will void this particular payment. So if I want to run this accounting process or the costing for this particular voided payment, I can enable this option. Cost cleared, voided payments only. So I don't want at this point, so I'm just unchecking this box. Okay. And then whether I want to exclude the manual payments that I'm making in the system. So this could be two ways. So one is that I can use the interface. So interface is nothing but the data that we are getting from the external application, so that I can get it. Or probably if I want to run a manual JV using this journal, the account code combinations, so that if I want to exclude it, I can mention it here. So I don't want to exclude any manual payments. I wanted to capture the entire payments that has been happening for the payroll and the other process. So I'm not selecting this option as well. So this is mandatory transfer to GL. So unless we give this option here, so we will not be able to complete our accounting process. So that is, if I want to transfer the entries from my payroll to GL, because end of the day, end of the month, I will have to run this particular program to transfer the entries. So that is when our payroll data and the GL data will match, because whatever the auditing or anything, the compliance requirement that we are filing, so this is based on the GL data. We will always cross reference with the GL data. So we will have to run this transfer to GL at the end of the month after we process our payroll. So unless we give this option here, we will not be able to run this particular payroll process. Okay. So I'm just enabling this as well. Okay. And then we have the ledger. Okay. So these are all part of finance. So I have created a few ledger, legal entity, and the other things. So I'm just using as it is. I'm just filling the data with values. Okay, I think the accounts are not added. Let me add a few accounts. So basically, these information you will get it from finance team. So once they configure the GL module, so they will have their chart of account values and the other details with them. So we will get these combinations from them and we will input it here. Okay, I think I did not create bank account. Okay, this is where the actual bank accounts will be attached. So I think I missed one step, that is creating the cash management. Apart from the ledger creation and the other finance setups, so we will need the cash management part also. So the temporarily I have added the here the bank accounts. So what I have done is that I have just given the name. So whatever the bank that is created under this particular ledger called SWPL. So I have taken that particular bank, that is ICICI Bank, and I have attached the branch. And the account number I have given it manually. Okay. Yeah. So that's about our payroll processing. I mean the payroll payment setup. So now what we will do is that we will take this and we will attach it to the payroll. So we have attached the payment method as well. So this becomes our default payment method to process this payroll using the HW payroll. Okay. So now, if I want to enable for different payment, so let's say I'm also making the payment in cash. So what I will have to do is that I will have to create again using this option called payment method. So how much ever the methods that we have, so we will have to create it manually. So that's about this thing, the payment method and the payroll organization setup. Okay. So the next setup is to give the flex field mapping. Okay. So this is the mapping basically I have given. So what it signifies is that whatever value that I have under this particular payroll costing segment, so I should have the same value under this particular segment called company also, which means whatever value that I have in my payroll, it should match with my GL records. So that is how system will basically understand, yes, I have the data here as well. So if I entered the segment called company in project costing segment, so this should match with my GL chart of account segment. So whatever value that I'm entering here, so this value will present in this particular segment, GL segment. So that is the understanding. So that's why I'm mapping this. But when I say here 5 segment, and if I have, let's say, 6 segments here, so I will have to avoid one segment giving it, because without mapping, system will not accept it. So that is the reason always you should have the same structure for payroll costing and GL chart of accounts. So either the finance team should complete their structure and they should give to us, or probably we should give a suggestion stating that so this is this structure that we are planning to frame. Okay, so that's about it. So once we complete our mapping and the other thing, so we are done with this part, the GL mapping. Okay. Any doubt till now? Okay. So we'll move on. Okay. So
Sir,
yeah.
sir, how to attach this payroll with the employee?
No, we will come to there. We have not reached that point, so we will
Oh,
complete the setups and then we will come
oh,
there. Okay. Okay. And then we have assignment set. So where do we use this assignment set? So when we are when we are creating this payroll process, so we have a certain condition based on what this particular employee should be picked up for this payroll process. So those criteria we will give it here. Okay. So I'll just give an assignment set. So that is HW assignment. Okay. And then I will attach the payroll that we created and the status would be active. Okay. So now if I want to give a set of criteria so that I can give it here. Okay. Let me see this. Yeah, I have say this. Okay. So now if I want to write any condition, so let's say I have different parameters that I can attach here. Okay. So let me give a sample condition. I'm not using this condition. Anyway, I will select this from the concurrent program. But just for understanding, I'm saying this. So we have these options also. Okay. So there are multiple ways that we can achieve the requirement. So let's say I have a specific requirement wherein I wanted to run for a specific what do you call the pay grades. So let's say I will run first for the management, which means this management will have certain pay groups and other options. So that is, let's say they will have around 2 lakhs of CTC. So I will run for them first. So here what I will do is that I will create a separate assignment set for management team and I will create an assignment stating that if this particular basic pay or the total pay that is matching with this amount called 2 lakh. So this should be picked up. So these are the employees that should pick up for this particular payroll run. So that is what we are defining it here. So it's not only for the basic pay. So apart from basic pay, we have other parameters as well. So like let's say I want to get the employee by let's say the classification or any entity or let's say the benefit or the elements that we have attached to the employee. So all those details I can make use of it and probably I can set up this condition. Okay. So for now, let me take this one. Okay. So this we know. So this is similar to Excel functions greater than or less than or greater than or equal to. So these are the basic functions that we have here as well. So I'm choosing equal to. Okay, it's not allowing to create one single condition. Okay, let me try to enter probably the multiple criteria. Instead, let me use R. Okay, so I'm not saving this. So this I'm just showing for understanding purpose because we will choose the assignment and we will see how we can remove the particular assignment and add the employees there. So we want to see those options. So I'm not giving anything here, but we have this feature called creating the criteria. So based on the criteria, basically system can pick the employees as well. Okay. So we have multiple parameters. Probably you can explore. Okay. Yeah. So we have created the assignment set. Okay. So the next option that we will create is that element. Okay. Okay. Before that, let me create element. Okay, so this is the page. Basically, we will define the element. So element is nothing but our components that will come in our payroll or the payslip basically. So if you see any payslip, you will have on the left hand side your earnings, and the on the right hand side we will see our deductions. Okay. So similarly, for whatever we see the as what we call the earnings or the deductions, so each we call it as in different components or different elements. So each one of it we will have to define it separately. So let's say I want to define the basic pay. So I will have to specify here this is a basic pay component. Similarly, I will have to create for each one of it, including taxation. Okay, and then this is where basically we will classify. So if you see here, so these are the classifications that we have. So whether this is an earnings or this is an what do you call the what do you call the liabilities, or this is just an information. So when we will use this as an earnings is that when we want this particular component to be added into payroll cycle, which means this will have financial impact. So that is when we will choose this as an earnings. So let's say we have other few elements that we will create like leave and the other things. So leave, I'm not going to calculate any financial record unless or until that is unpaid leave. Okay, so that is different calculation. But for the normal leave and the other things, again, I will create this as a separate element. So how I will create that particular element is that using this option called information. Okay. So similarly, we have multiple options inside it. So for now, we will take the element, but we have other options as well. Like if you see here, tax deductions. So now I have a few taxation complaints and the other things. Okay. So here what I will do is that if I want to deduct, let's say 10% of TDS, so I will write and condition separately, and I will create here as a tax deduction, and I will write a condition in order to pick that particular values. So how I will do that is that I have an field called input values. So once we see these details, we will see how to generate those things. So before that, we will complete this. Okay. So similar to tax declaration, we have tax credit and the other things as well. Okay. So now I have earnings and also the deductions. So these are the two primary things that I will use. So firstly, let me create the earnings. Okay. Yeah, so we have created this, and here we can see that there are a few options that we can see. So now this basic pay is this and recurring. Recurring is nothing but month on month it will be automated, which means I don't want to select it manually. So for those cases, I can select this as an recurring. In case this is an special allowance or this is a bonus that is being paid only on a specific given period. So what I can do is that I can simply say this is a non-recurring. So I will have to add it manually for the specific period. Let's say for August, I'll have to run it. I'll have to run the payroll by adding manually. Okay, and then we have the termination components. So termination component is nothing but let's say this particular employee is getting relieved from this company. So for this, so for each and every element that we are creating here, so this will have the termination component attached to it. So whether we want to run the final close, and so final close is nothing but set of concurrent program that we have, which we will run, and then we will run the termination process and the other things. Because terminating an employee, it is not just an what do you call the HRMS entry. It has also the financial impact. Because when an employee releases from this company, so probably he might relieve on 15th or 18th of particular month. So till 15th or 18th, company will have to pay to the employee. So this we call it as an final this thing. Okay, final termination process and the other things. So whether I want to do the actual termination is nothing but now and there I'll calculate and settle the thing. Or probably if I want to use the final close, I can use the final close. Or let's say I want to use the last standard process. So this is nothing but I will process this remaining amount or for this 18 or the 16 days, I will process as a part of next month payroll process, which means now I'm in the month of July. So employee has retired, let's say not retired, terminated on the date of let's say 12th of June. So now if I run payroll for July, I will not calculate. So instead I'll run it for August. So which means I'll say that for the next payroll run, I will consider this termination. Okay. So according to the requirement, we will set up this. So this is the standard one that we will use, that is last standard process to add it in the payroll. So I'm just selecting the same thing. Okay. And priority is based on the elements that we have. So already we have, since this is a test environment, we have a lot of elements that has been created. So I'm not changing the priority because this might cause some clashes when we are running the payroll. Okay. And then whether the multiple entries are allowed. So these are set of controls that we can have for this particular element. Okay. So I'm just saying this is an multiple entries allowed. Okay. And I'm not choosing closed for entry and the other thing. So I want this to be added. So I will say process in run. So which means when I'm running the payroll process, I wanted this to be added as a part of payroll run. Okay. And then I have indirect results and the adjustment only. So these are like optional things. If I want to use it, I can use it. So third party payments are the payments that we make with the integration and the other things. So we are not touching at this point. Okay. And then we have certain rules that we can create. So so this is nothing but if I want to skip any particular employee, so I can define it here. I mean, I cannot define it here. So we have formula column. So there we will write those rules and the other things. So after defining it there, so probably we can attach it here in the script rule. So this, but which means for this, but the employees or whatever the rule that we are determining there, so that will eliminate this particular SW basic. So that is the understanding. Okay. And then we have the input values. Okay, let me save this. So these are not mandatory information. So since this is test environment, so people has enabled these options. So that's why this becomes mandatory. But it's not that we will have this as a mandatory always. Okay. So we have saved this element that is basic pay. Okay. And now if you see, we have the pay value. So pay value is nothing but how much we are going to pay. So I can give any value here, or probably if I have the formula so that I can attach it here, or I can leave this particular field as it is. So that what I will do is that I can enter this manually when I'm running the payroll. Okay. So we will see two options. So one is that we will attach this to the employee, and then we will see how payroll has been getting generated. And also we will attach this to an assignment, and we will run this as a batch, and we will see how batch is getting run. Okay. Yeah. So we will add the values there, but this is the setup if I want to attach the formula column and I want to use this default value generation, so I can use here. Okay. Yeah. And then here, if you see here, so I have see separate controls whether I want to have the separate payment, which means for each one of them it will go as a separate payment instead of the batch payments. Okay, so this is one thing that I can make use of it, or if I want to process this, so both are interdependent basically. So the separate payment is nothing but if I want to give a separate payment or the reference number to this particular employee, so I can select the first option. So similarly, I want this to be ran as a separate process. So I can enable here as well. So it depends on the requirement, but this is not the common option that we will use because this is a time consuming activity. So based on the requirement, probably for one or two elements that we will use, but definitely for basic pay, we will not use this option. Okay. And then we have a few proration and the recalculation events. So when we will use this retro pay or the recalculation event is that when we have this one, what do you call the cycle of paying it again, which means I might add a few components and rerun it. So that is when we will use this recalculation and the other things. So this is event based trigger that has been used in the system. Okay. So we did not define any events as of now. So probably test might have a few values. So we will use the regular earnings. So this is the seeded one that we will have. So since this is test environment, we have other events also assigned to it. Okay. So we will not take this retro components for now. So we will leave this options for now. Okay. Yeah. So proration also we don't need now. So we will see these things at a later point when we are seeing those concepts. Okay. Yeah. So these are the things. And apart from that, if I want to capture additional information, I can capture using this particular page. Or probably I can capture this as a part of EIT. So EIT is nothing but extra information. Okay. So this is the part, this is the thing about our element creation. So this we have created only for basic pay. So similarly, we will have to create for each one of the component. So this is one part of earning. So apart from that, we have HRA and other allowance as well, social travel and conveyance and the other component. Similarly, for deductions, we will select this classification as voluntary this thing. Okay. So I'm just creating another deduction. So let me say this is an PF and this is an deduction. Okay. So I'm not giving this as an recurring because we wanted to test it. So I'm just giving this as it is. So similarly, let me add another component as well. Let's say HRA. Okay. So I have created three components totally. So two benefits and one deduction. Okay. Yeah. Any doubt till now?
No, sir, no doubt.
Okay. Okay. Then we have a few other currency rate conversion and the other things. So basically, when we will have this currency rates and the other things is then basically when we have these things, when we make a payment to the employee who is staying in, let's say, on-site. So we are into IT business. So what we will do is that we will deploy our resources in on-site. So now, if I want to make payment to this particular employee, so I will not make a payment in INR. So I'm going to make the payment in their local currency because they are located as an, I mean, their base location is different from the country that I'm working for. Okay. So for those cases, I will need the daily rates as well. So these are part of finance setups, but we will have to understand the basics, how it will work and why are we using this in HRMS. Okay. So if we want to use the foreign currency transaction, so we will have to define the daily rates. So here, what I will do is that basically I'll give the currency that is from currency and to currency, and I'll give the rate, how much it should be. Okay, so this is a simple setup. Yeah, so once this is done, so probably we can attach it and then the system will take care of it. So how this is getting linked is that using the ledger options. Because if you remember when we are creating the payment method, so we saw that what do you call we saw that we attach the ledger. So that is how system is getting linked. Okay. Yeah, so now what we will do is that we will pick one particular employee and we will run the payroll for this employee. Let me run this as an this thing payroll run. Okay, first let me run for employee and then I will run as an batch. Okay, let me create a new employee. I forgot the one that we created. Okay, I think I did not give a profile option for this entity. Okay, let me give the profile option. Okay, so I think already it's almost 10:30. So we will close for today. So there are few finance setups as well, so that I will have to do it. So I'll complete it, and tomorrow we will see. Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
Hmm. Sir,
Yeah.
on the day I created some people.
Okay.
For that is how to create people groups. What is a people?
A people group is one of the flex field that we will create basically. So if you remember when we are creating the
Group?
this one what you call the business group. So we saw there are a few flex field combinations that we have taken from the standard
Hmm.
setup and
Hmm.
one flex field that we created. So this people group is part of that. So if you want to create your own people group, so similar to the job flex field how we created, so you will have to create for your people group as well, and you will have to attach this particular people group to your business group. Okay, so you should
Oh,
make sure that you attach before you start transaction in HRMS because it will
okay.
get frozen. So after we do the transaction for the business group definition and the other parts.
Another one. Okay, sir.
Yeah, anything?
Anything, sir?
Yeah,
Another one doubt, sir.
yeah, yes, please.
Sir, there are three responsibilities of HR. No,
Mm,
core HR, SS HR, and payroll HR.
mm.
What comes under core HR?
So core HR is nothing but basically to maintain your employee records and to have a check on the details of employee and processing the performance and the other things. So this you call it as an core HR activities, and the payroll is nothing but your. So this payroll is a bit of an big module compared to other small modules because SSHR is nothing but this is kind of an OA form wherein we will use certain functions of HRMS. But whereas in
Uh,
payroll you will do yeah.
sir. For example, if in case
Mm,
of maintaining absentees,
mm.
uh, maintaining absentees, whether it comes under core HR
Core,
or
core. That is that comes under core. So
hmm,
we will consider this when running the payroll process also, but that is not the primary activity for payroll
okay,
because this is part of employee maintenance.
okay,
Okay,
sir.
yeah.
Then for job survey, creation of job survey, it comes
Mm.
under core HR or
Job survey, that is again your core thing because these are not part of your this thing. So there is a difference how you will differentiate SSHR and payroll and the core HRMS. So
yes, sir.
core HRMS is basically the employee maintenance. You can keep it this way. And
Hmm.
payroll processing is nothing but giving I mean, processing the payroll for the employee, like considering the leaves and calculating your taxation, calculating earnings and deductions, and
Hmm.
then termination of employee, and then final settlements. All these things will come under your payroll module. But apart
Hmm.
from that, whatever you have, most of them will fall under your this thing, employee maintenance. So whatever you have only for the information and the future record and the background verification and the other things, so that
Hmm.
will come under your core HR.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. So if we don't have anything, so probably we will wind up today.
Sir,
And
another one.
yeah, yes, yes.
Sir, I created an employee.
Okay.
I created employee and tried to maintain an absence report on him. But for
Okay.
maintaining absence report, it asks that payroll is necessary.
Okay.
Is it necessary? Payroll necessary for maintaining absence?
Yeah, for absence, you need these details also, right? For
Ah,
anyway, if you are maintaining absence, so the reason why you have this absence and the other things captured is that you will calculate or you will understand whether this particular employee has taken more leaves or he has consumed in his limit. So you will calculate this and you will say that okay, this is an paid leave, so I will have to deduct it from the salary. Okay. So this
oh,
end of the day, it will go to your payroll module, even though you are just maintaining it. So it will be supplied to your payroll module as well. So that's the reason.
okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Fine.
fine.
Okay. Yeah, fine. So we will meet tomorrow.
Sir,
Uh,
can I get a recorded session? Because tomorrow I will try, by afternoon I will try something with,
yeah,
I will
yeah,
try
I'll send
creating
you.
payroll for
I'll
my,
send you. Yeah, I'll send
okay.
you. I'll send
I already created few employees on employee contingency workers.
you. Okay.
Basic, I have somehow basic for creating employee and creating employee, creating contingent worker. I have used the instance you shared me now.
Yeah, yeah. Got it. Got
I
it.
used it. But for
Okay.
I don't know. By today viewing this recorded session, I will try something tomorrow.
Yeah, sure, sure. I'll share the video.
Okay, sir.
Okay, fine.
Thanks.
Okay, fine. So we'll meet tomorrow.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, thanks.